All right, so headline number 4, continuing to roll on here. According to CNBC, Lowe's will soon test a new offering, and that offering is a Petco shop inside its stores where customers can buy dog food and cat litter and even visit with a vet, which I thought was really interesting, while shopping for paint and other supplies for home projects. The two retailers announced the deal this past Thursday to pilot the store-in-store locations. The first one will open near San Antonio in early February, so right around the corner. Yeah. With 14 additional locations planned in Texas, North Carolina, and South Carolina by the end of March. That's pretty rapid deployment. Petco Chief Merchandising Officer Nick Conat, and by the way, a huge fan of OmniTalk, a former colleague of mine at Target, who I've known for now 15 plus years, said he expects the shops will especially resonate with DIY-inclined millennials. During the pandemic, many of those 20 and 30-somethings led the way with what they quote-unquote called nesting trends, as they bought homes or moved into bigger places, adopted cats or dogs, and in some cases saw pets, as I love this, as a trial run, in quotes, before having children. And are you cat licking this one off the stoop?
Yes, I think trial runs for getting a pet before a child is probably a good idea. What happens to that pet, however, once the kids come, that's where the rubber really
still
meets
takes
the
the
road.
Precedence. Ginsburg can attest to that she's the number one priority in the family.
Yes. Okay. Well, here's the deal. This is not new. I mean, we've been seeing retailers like Menards and Fleet Farm and other farm and fleet stores that have been doing this for years. I mean, some of them, even in addition to pet and home supplies, home improvement supplies, they even have groceries, if we're talking Menards. So I have to say, too. Hey, wrapping paper, burnt peanuts, you get everything you want in that store. Christmas trees, but anyway, I do think though that this is a great experiment from two of the most predominant players in the space. It saves people the trip. But I have to say, I think merchandising is going to be really key here. We need Lowe's to figure out what assortment still saves the trip to the pet store. Obviously, pet food is a huge category there. But then how do you build a model with this shop and shop concept that can adapt and evolve quickly to the needs of individual stores? Like, it's essentially you're managing now 2 stores and 2 sets of inventory. So how do you kind of figure out what that right mix is and stay flexible there? So Chris, I don't know, you have a pet, so I think that
I'm still trying to figure out what the hell burnt peanuts are, and what the hell?
Oh my God, it's the best thing
that reference to.
The best thing you can buy at a Menards or Fleet Farm or Farm and Fleet store. They're like the candy coated peanuts.
Oh, right. Okay, got it. I'm with you now. Oh yeah, those are tasty. Those are quite delicious.
Actually. Those are wonderful.
This is the type of insights you get on.
Talk about a trip driver. That's a trip.
Yeah, that would get burnt nuts. Get me into whatever store I can think of. Absolutely. All right. So my take on this: when I first saw it, I loved it. I loved the rationale. I thought it was the perfect marriage here. Totally agree with the nesting comment of the younger generation and the pets as trial kids. I've been saying pets as trial kids for like 30 years. And it does make the whole weekend trip to Lowe's that much more convenient if you can do all that stuff. It gives the whole one-stop shop atmosphere to why you go to a physical store, and that's continuing to be a hook given the pandemic of where people want to go. But then I thought about it, Ann, and you kind of alluded to it with your Menards reference and your, Tractor Supply reference and all that. And again, I say this to Nick, who I've known 15 plus years and is probably going to listen to this comment. So take from it what you will, Nick, but I would tread really carefully here too. I would make sure you've got stipulations in the contract of what Lowe's is allowed to do in these categories going forward. Sure. Make sure that what you are doing in those stores, Lowe's can't eventually do themselves, which is why I like the addition of the vet services, because I think that is hard for Lowe's to copy. But at the end of the day, you got to be watchful, because this could be set up for what I would call made for essentially Lowe's learning and kicking you to the curb and copying very resolutely if you're not careful. So that's my watch out. But, I think Petco has shown they've got a really good head on their shoulders. And I imagine they're looking out for that stuff in the way they're structuring these relationships.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out, Chris. The service element of this is really important. And Petco just announced this last week too, that they're rolling out other services partnerships with Rover and other services. So, yes, keep that in mind. I think it's definitely good advice, but yeah, I think that there's more that Petco's building on too, that they could provide in that same Lowe's setting, giving them more locations, more footprints for consumers. So
it is a pretty rapid rollout though. So if it starts working, there's going to be a lot of people at Lowe's that are like, we can do this ourselves.
I like this. I like this.